So introduce yourself and tell me what you do at Lifeplus.
Oh, so I'm Michelle Wilson. I've worked with Lifeplus for 12 years and I head up the marketing events team. We're based in the UK, but we have been hosting events such as the Spirit Festival, our award-winning festival, sporting events, fundraisers for the Lifeplus Foundation, and most importantly, our recognition galas. My focus is to create an event strategy with Robert that works for the business and our customers.
Okay, my name is Rick Cesarski, and I've been with Lifeplus for almost 40 years now. I started in 1984, so this summer will be 40 years. I spend a lot of my time right now working on events, mostly LPU and the Diamond Trip. And when I'm in Batesville, I have a lot of office manager type, general manager roles in the office, taking care of the employees and taking care of whatever might come up, because there's always things that come up. So,
So what does a typical day working at a Lifeplus event look like for you, Rick?
Well, LPU is basically breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We spend with our people. That's what makes LPU such a great event. It's pretty much around the clock that we get to spend time with our people, whether it's on the bus, going on our excursions, meals. And, we have everything planned out. As you know, we have nice working agendas, just like your events, where, pretty much every minute of the day is planned out. So it's just, we get a few breaks in between, but not many. But just spending the time with the people from morning till night.
Yeah, so. And we're lucky we have nice people that come, right?
Yeah. So what is your favorite thing about working for Lifeplus?
Good question. A few things. So I love my team. I've recruited a really smart group of people. We get to collaborate across multifunctional teams on an international basis. Like I said, we've got really nice members, good people that want to come and have good fun. So that's a good thing, right? We have good people at our events. And I always talk about the opportunity at Lifeplus. I still feel like there's so much more we will be doing in the future. So that's really exciting for me.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned our people, and Lifeplus does attract extremely wonderful people, and we have a company full of members that are incredible, appreciative, and at the events, they always enjoy themselves. So it's always great. So what is your favorite product at Lifeplus?
Favorite product? So I don't have always a particular product that's my favorite, because I swap and change what I take as to what I need at that time. At the moment, because I'm doing a lot of running, I'm really into Fusions Red.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, of course, it's all the basic stuff, right? Bob Basics, Proanthonol, Zoma Gold. You can't do without those. But right now, I really love the Ketonic, and for energy, for during the diets, it works really well. And even when I'm not trying to watch what I eat, which is most of the time, but it's just a great product that I've really come to enjoy. So it's pretty good. So why do we do events at Lifeplus?
It's a good question. Why do we do events? To have fun, no?
It is fun. There's no doubt.
For a number of reasons. So it could be to reward and recognise our members, and to incentivise them to get to different qualification levels in order to unlock more events and come and spend more time with us. It might be that we want to create platforms for our members to provide them with business updates and reassurance around the future of the business. We might do some brand awareness activities in public spaces to attract new people to come and discover Lifeplus.
Absolutely.
And to create spaces for our members to again introduce new people to Lifeplus, so as well as having fun.
Yeah. Well, we can't help but having fun with our people. So,
That's true.
And I'll add to that a big thing that I really like about our events is especially LPU and because it's a smaller event, is the ability to get to know people, right? And build relationships. So that's a huge part of our business.
Yeah.
Is building relationships.
Absolutely. Do you think, Rick, that we have the best job at Lifeplus?
Well, that's what people tell me. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, you get planning and all that is always difficult and it's fun. We get to visit the venues just like you do and get to do a little bit of traveling. It is a lot of work, but the end result is always when people leave happy.
Yeah.
And I mean, so that always makes it worth every minute that we spend planning. So.
Yeah. Although I did read recently, event planning is in the top 10 most stressful jobs you can have.
I can see that a little bit, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nice.
So how did the pandemic affect everything that you do from an event standpoint?
So we had to explore the virtual world because we felt that it was still really important to connect with our people. We didn't want to just cut ties in that regard. So how could we keep that conversation, that relationship going? So we explored, I don't know if you remember our virtual recognition galas.
Yes, I
did some sushi making, and we had some circus acts.
And the juggling.
And you were doing
juggling. I tried to juggle.
Yeah.
Tried.
Yeah, it was good fun. And we got a lot of people online, so that was really, really good. And we could get a sense of that community back again, which has then evolved into we're now doing kind of more online wellness sessions. So we've done things like kickboxing, yoga, Pilates, and more educational sessions as well with the likes of Mark Gassett, I know is quite popular. So that's cool because it's really opened up our eyes to that virtual space. But it was such a challenge in the pandemic, as you know, trying to keep venues reserved as late as possible, as well as trying to figure out the rules and regulations for that venue, that specific city, because everything was different in different cities, as well as what we were allowed to do, from a government perspective. So it was a minefield of figuring out what we could and couldn't do. Yeah. And then, of course, making sure that we came back at the right time because we got a sense that people were still nervous getting back together.
Unfortunately, they still are a little bit.
Absolutely, and particularly on that big scale.
Yeah.
But we came back with a bang, right? So we had our recognition gala in Stuttgart in May 2022. Around 2,000 people did come to that. So it definitely was the right time. We revealed our new logo, our new Lifeplus logo, and we had a great time. And then that same year, we launched our outdoor wellness festival, which again felt like the right time to do something like that as well.
And I think everybody enjoyed that. It was a great change and a very successful event. Yeah. So you guys did a great job on that. So, and I think you talked about the vendors and holding spaces. And fortunately, I know you probably ran into the same thing we did, that, the vendors were very, and the venue the people at the venues were very workable, right? I mean, everybody was in the same situation, all the other companies, them themselves. So they did work with us, I know from my end, and I'm sure they did with you to a certain extent. But yeah, it was definitely a huge challenge.
Before we move into the kind of future of Lifeplus events, let's just go back to, you must have some really funny stories of the past.
Yeah, funny
stories of people come on.
Yeah, the funny, again, all my they're memories, right? I mean, so they're good memories. They're all good memories, but an early memory was, and this came up when we had a tribute to Bob during some of the parties at the early spirits. Somehow the guys ended up taking their ties off, wrapping around their heads, have a little tail like a I don't even know what you would call it, dancing around with these ties on their heads for hours, and that was always funny. But I go back to memories again. So LPU is one of those big events where we try to create memories, and I always tell people that. And we had a lady one time who just got married, had lost some weight, and we build a beach. You've been to LPU. We build our own private beach on the lake and a lot of sand, and she lost her wedding ring. She'd only been married like 2 months, and water, sand, people everywhere. So we had all the employees were out there digging through the sand. Somebody finally found I don't know where, but they came up with a metal detector. We found it, and he was so happy.
Oh my goodness.
And just the expression on her and the emotion was just a very memory that sticks with me tremendously. So, and we've had the occasional sinking of a jet ski and all that kind of stuff at LPU. So we've had lots of different memories, I'll say, at these events. So
it reminds me, a funny memory I've got is, remember we did our fun run in Cologne?
Yeah.
and we did the 5K and the 10K run. And we took some extra staff out with us to help us manage the event. And some of the staff thought that their job was to run the race. So when the race started off, they ran, and we were like, no, get back. We need you to help us. So that was funny. And then we had, of course, some people had swapped the numbers that they'd registered to for the race. So then when we went to award our best female, it was a male. So yeah, good fun.
So going to the future, how do you keep these events exciting and innovative?
We collaborate with event agencies from time to time, because just for the sheer scale of the kind of production elements to what we deliver. So we're working with like-minded event experts who know their stuff too. But as a team, we will attend other events to see what other people are doing. We might attend some webinars, and we just try and network with people in the events industry when we can. Yeah. Kind of stay on top of what's happening.
Well, some of the best ideas are something somebody else has done, stolen, used.
Yeah.
It's what do they say? The imitation is the best form of flattering.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, we've got a lot of inspiration for our events, for the Diamond Trip especially, from other people. And, some of the things you've done at the Spirit events and the galas and, so those are, hey, if it works, it works.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
How do you draw inspiration for these Lifeplus events?
I love watching what else is going on in the world. So something like the World Cup, I will watch that, wondering how they're managing logistics behind the scenes on that scale, as well as things like music concerts. So technology and the production of is at an all-time high. So concerts like Coldplay and what they're up to, that kind of stuff is really cool to watch, see what's happening. Who do you collaborate with on events?
Who do I collaborate with on events? Well, we have a team in Batesville, and we lean heavily on the key accounts team in the UK.
Yeah.
And of course, our travel department, who I think is across worldwide with the travel. But, the people, Tracy and P especially, that have been with us a long time, they have full-time jobs. They have jobs that are very important within the company, and they make time to work on these events and do a wonderful job. Again, we couldn't do it without them, and they are the heart and soul, all the team of what goes on. And, key accounts, from the language support and contacting people, and then the travel department getting all the flights ready. So it's a whole bunch of us that mostly have other jobs that do this out of passion and love for our members. It's just good to see, and they enjoy it. They love seeing people like I do have a great time and have the time of their life. It's, a lot of people, come away from these events thinking it's, some of the best time they've ever had. So that's very fulfilling.
Yeah. And a nice group of people as well to work with. So why would you say our events are so pivotal to Lifeplus as business?
I touched on this before. I do think it's a lot to do with relationships, right? And getting to know people, them getting to know us, right? I mean, that's why LPU is such a huge thing. They get to come see us in a relaxed environment, spend a week with us, get to see where their vitamins are made, how their vitamins are made, meet the people, come to the office and meet the employees. The bigger the events get, the harder it is to do that. Yeah. But at least at LPU, we've tried to keep it to a decent number. We're in that 75 to 85 range of total people. So you get to spend a lot of time with a lot of people, and they get to see that we're real and we are not untouchable, and we enjoy being around them. Yeah. So I think building those relationships is huge.
Yeah, that tour of the manufacturing is so impressive.
And it's even better now. We got a whole bunch of new equipment and new building. And so come June, we will expand our tour. And include all the new equipment, the new facility. So that's I haven't even seen the final product as far as how the tour is going to go, but we're working on that.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing. So. Wow, you need a whole day just for that.
Yeah, I wish we had the whole day, but but it's going to be longer. I will tell you that. So we will have to adjust. Another one of those adjustments on the fly that we're just going to have to make do.
Yeah, and a contingency plan.
Yeah.
A, B, C. Yeah. So how do you add personal touches to the events? How do you make it feel like a Lifeplus event?
Well, one of the huge things that we do at LPU and Diamond Trip especially is every night they go back to their rooms. They get a gift. Mm-hmm. All right. So they look forward to, after dinner, going back to their room and seeing what they've got that night. So that's always we always get a lot of comments on that and a lot of appreciation and a lot of excitement. And, for me, the personal touch is both the Diamond Trip and LPU is they see me when they get off the plane. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So I meet every single one of them for the most part, unless there's 2 flights in 2 different terminals and it's impossible. But meet them at the airport, greet them, make sure they're all right, spend the week with them, and then I'm one of the last people they see when they leave. Yeah. So
that is very personal.
And I heard a story, I forget who it was, but I was at the airport in the Dominican, and he came off the plane and big smile, big hug. He says, it's been 20 years, and for 20 years I've seen you at the airport. You're still coming to see me. So.
And you still look exactly the same, Rick.
Almost. A little gray. So
you look great.
Anyway, so how do you select the entertainment and supplies for your theme for your events?
Okay, so we have worked with we bring back the bands that we know people like, so that the crowd leaders
we do like.
Yeah, so we've had Me and the Heat. Yeah. Frank Family Band.
I think it's the Frank Family Band as well.
Yeah, really amazing singers. Paul Lomax, really cool DJ we had at the festival, we've brought back. We're always on the lookout for new talent. And sometimes as well, depending on where we are, we'll look at local bands to help promote them at those events as well.
Help the local economy too.
Absolutely,
right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
So how do you respond to societal changes in these events?
Right now, we're trying to have a greater focus on things like sustainability. We know it's important to people and us. So for things like at the festival in the first year, we planted a tree for every attendee that purchased a ticket.
Yeah, very nice.
We will work with agencies and suppliers who also work hard to make those conscious decisions, the right decisions around events. Because a lot of what we do is building and tearing down. So we just want to make sure as much as we can along that way that we're making good choices. So we may work with in-house sustainability consultants, for example, to help us do that. We're exploring tech. That's always evolving, right? And AI. And just trying to make sure that the customer experience is as seamless as possible.
So how are you enhancing your events going into the future?
It's really important as the business is growing, which is great, that we make our events more accessible for more people. So doing more, perhaps maybe more smaller things, but trying to reach more markets. As I say, if the business is growing, it's important we do that.
I've always enjoyed, again, going back to the relationships, the smaller events where you get to spend more time with people. And I think that's just extremely important. Yeah. And those are always my favorite. In the past, we did a lot of, way in the early days, a lot of tours around and we'd go to people's homes, right? And you'd have 20, 30, 40 people at a time and you just hang out with them for the day. And those are what I enjoyed the most overall the last 20 years doing this.
Nice. And we want to work with our members more to make sure that the events that we are doing is helping them and their business. So that's really important too. That's something we're going to work more closely with going forward. So what would you say makes our events the most successful?
Well, overall, big picture, I think just the fact that we get our people together, they motivate each other, they share, whether it's experiences or knowledge, and it's just a good feel-good feeling for the people. And again, when they come to LPU for that first time, it's just a major accomplishment at first, because none of these events to qualify are easy, right? It takes a lot of work. And getting to see, we've touched on this, the manufacturing, the office, meet the people, and the fact, again, the more we see them, the more we get to know them, the bigger and stronger our relationships get. I think that, and we truly do care about our people from top to bottom. And they see that, they feel that at the events, whether it's at a Spirit, whether it's at the Diamond Trip. They truly believe and understand that we do care about them, and we want them to succeed. We want them to be happy and have fun. And we always have fun. We do. Right? And as, the fun director, as I've been told, I sometimes I find it hard to put that tag on me, but what we do, you included, all of us, is we do create an environment for fun, right? I mean, we do create an environment for people to get together, have a great time, enjoy each other, enjoy us, and have fun. So I can't remember any event where people weren't happy and having a good time, ever, over the last 25, 30 years, however long it's been.
I agree, yeah. So maybe we do have the best job.
Well, we do. We do. And the best job includes seeing people happy, excited. I know when they leave these events, a little different with LP and Diamond Trip, because they all do leave almost the same time, come and go, and it is kind of thing. So when you see people crying and just so happy and not wanting to leave and grateful, and it makes everything worthwhile.
Yeah, all that planning, all that sweat and tears,
all the time and effort we put into these events always ends with a positive and makes it all worth every second that we spend. So,
I agree. So when you're not event planning, Rick, what are you doing? What do you get up to in your own?
Oh, in my personal life? Yeah. Well, I mean, I like to golf. Yeah. And mostly spend time with, working around the house. Mm-hmm. We are big outdoor garden people. Yeah. So we have a big yard that takes a lot to maintain, especially in the summer, not so much in the winter. But mostly I enjoy my grandson. He's getting to that age where almost 10, he'll be 10 in June. So I spend a lot of time with him. Yeah, nice. And starting to play sports and do different activities. So as you know, we travel a lot. And so when I'm home, I try to spend as much time with him as I can. Yeah. So what do you do? I know you have a family now.
Yes. So I was crazy enough to have 2 babies in the pandemic. So I now have 3 babies. So if I'm not running around after them, I love exercising. So I do a lot of running, cycling. Malcolm's pushed me into cycling over the last couple of years. And more recently, boxing. Really enjoying boxing. So it's good for my mind.
I'll try not to make you mad.
Might need it.
But Malcolm pushed me into bike cycling too, and we made our trip.
We did.
Yeah, which was in
Cologne.
One of my big accomplishments in my life. I mean, as far as an achievement. Yeah. I never thought I could do it, but
achievement.
But I hadn't been back on the bike much in a couple of years, so I probably need to get back on it. So.
Yeah, that was great fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, we had a great time.